For the viewer, especially in India, how would you describe this food security crisis? Is it just fears or is it real and having an impact on the ground?
So, I think we are in a food crisis now. And, already during COVID, the food system was stretched to the maximum. Last year, we saw 200 million people. This is already a doubling of people who are in acute food hunger, so on the verge of starvation. And we were already seeing rising prices, significant rising prices during COVID. But then the conflict in the Ukraine has exacerbated that even further. So we could see hunger go to unprecedented levels this coming year, with maybe 400 million people around the world in acute food shortages, and with prices potentially even going further.
Sean, break it down, because you've given us 2-3 points. First, is it a production crisis or is it a supply crisis or a mix of both?
So it's a mix of both. Mm-hmm. So I think because of inflation, because of the, what was going on in COVID, and then just rising inflation generally, what initially we were seeing was rising food prices. Now what we're starting to see is an availability shortage, which is a supply and demand issue. It's trying to get the right food. We often around the world have enough food. It's just not in the right places.
It's not in the right places. For our viewers in India, and a country where we produce massive amounts of food grain, of sugar, and the numbers for India, many of our viewers would perhaps be wondering whether this has to do with the way globalization has led to trans-border food availability and exports. Why I ask you this, Sean, and you'll perhaps appreciate the question. This is a conflict between Ukraine and Russia, Russia being the aggressor here. The rest of the world doesn't have war of a similar kind happening. Yet why is food supply being disrupted potentially to the rest of Europe or even Africa? Why is that happening? Is it because our global food chains are interlinked and they are broken at this point of time?
So it's two issues. One is the system was very interlinked. And when you have a series of acute shocks, with a COVID-related shock, with a series of weather-related shocks in India, you're having unprecedented heat waves, over 50 degrees, which is also impacting on the crops. And then you have a conflict as well, and they all come together. Then it creates a tension. But the other issue is that we are also in the middle of a climate crisis. And so this is also having a huge impact on food systems. Be under no illusions. This is not just about producing as much food as cheaply as possible and moving it around the world. This is, can we produce food in a way that's healthier for people, that puts less demands on the planet? At the moment, 30% of greenhouse gases come from the food and land use system. More than 2/3 of biodiversity loss is as a result of food system transformation, and then it's having big impacts on health as well. So we have to bring all of that together. So that makes it complicated.
If you like the video, do like, comment, share, and subscribe.